Well, this is my second time coming through the Courageous Bible Study, and um, first time was phenomenal. It was great. I learned forgiveness, and I learned that those things, it'll bond you down, and it'll hold you to where um, you're not gonna be living for God every day the way that you need to, and this class I really focused on. I asked the Lord to show me what my ministry, what His ministry in my life was, and He simply answered to love Him, so to love God, and then to love people. And throughout this whole process, I have learned. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but how to love the people that are the hardest to love. And that's something that I've really struggled with my whole life. I'm not married. I don't have any kids, but I still learned what I needed out of this class, and it was to love God, to love people, and then the rest He'll take care of it, and the rest of it will fall where it needs to fall. So really, to love Him was what I learned. And I do love Him, but I wasn't making it priority to love His people. And if I love Him, I gotta love His people. That's what I've learned.
So the class taught me a lot. One of the big things I learned is God's plan for me and other men. How to be a better husband, father, be more involved. The class really pointed out what I was missing at home, what my kids were missing, my wife was missing, and really what God had planned that I wasn't doing. I wasn't spending enough time with them, giving them my attention, and how God's plan is for us as fathers to mold our children and help them grow. And it really pointed out that I wasn't doing that, and how I wasn't being a leader in my household, and how my wife had taken that job and done a really good job with it, but I needed to be the one doing it. And it pointed out how important church family is, and you guys, how important every one of you all are, not just in my life, but in each other's lives, and how we need to rely on each other. And what am I going to do with what I've learned from this class is, big thing is to make God first, my wife second, my kids behind. He needs to be in control. I don't need to be in control anymore. And I need to spend more time with my family. Quit making work number one, make them number one. Make God first, family second. That's where I need to go. Things I've learned in this class really that I have to apply more is forgiveness, compassion, understanding, and I need to be accountable to them and to you all. That's what I've learned, and I'm going to apply it.
So before this class, I had no idea what God called a Christian man to be. I've only been on my walk with Christ for 9 months now. And before then, I was biblically illiterate. Coming into this class, I didn't know how important the priority chain was for a Christian man in regards to God and His family. I knew God was my number one priority, but I had always assumed that the rest of the people in my life were second. But through this class, I learned about how important it was to make sure that God was first, my wife was second, my kids were third, and being a spiritual leader was fourth. I'm so glad I was given that information so that when me and my fiance get married in April, I can start off on the right foot with these biblical principles for my family's sake. I felt like once I learned these things, it helped me to take away a sense of pride for myself and to really start to focus on my relationship with both God and my fiance. So I just want to finish up by saying that I highly recommend this course to any man in our church, regardless of whether your walk with Christ is new, like me, or even if you've been walking with Christ most of your life. No matter the circumstance that you're in, as a Christian man, you deserve to know these principles so that you can stay on the straight and narrow path and know everything that God has in store for you. Personally, I look forward to applying this resolution to my life, and I hope someday to take the class again in the future, possibly when I'm married and have kids of my own. I want to thank Blake and Chris for teaching this class, and the rest of these guys for praying for me, and I pray that we can maintain the relationships that we've built and continue to hold each other accountable in the future.
Hey guys, this is my second time going through this class, and it's been a blessing both times. I'll admit, coming into this class, it wasn't really about what I could get out of it, but kind of what I learned out of the first class is how to keep each other accountable. And I had two brothers coming into this class, and I wanted to be supportive to them and to walk through it with them. But then God really spoke to me again this time around, and I'm so thankful for that. What I mainly learned that stuck with me the most out of this year's class is leaving a legacy. And it sounds kind of simple just saying it, but every decision we make determines the future for those around you and for those to come, and how important it is to make each decision you make count. And that really stuck with me this year, and I take it serious, I take it to heart, and I'm thankful for this class so much because it's changed my life, it's changed my family's life, and it's ultimately brought me closer to God. So leaving a legacy is just the main thing I got out of this class this year, and how I'm going to apply it will be just making every decision I make and choice that I make count.
Hey guys, this is my second time going through the class as well. The first time I went through this class, I learned a lot of information really fast, and I tried to apply it to my life every day. And then, over the last year, you kind of, the world just beats on you with your jobs and working constantly. You kind of slip away from things. This class was most definitely a refresher to remind me of where I need to be, closer to God, putting God first, wife second, kids third, and then myself. It's also shown me to show you how to love your kids more and more. It's always been a big thing for me the first time, just not loving your kids, but loving them in a godly way. And that's to show my kids that, to leave a legacy behind for my two kids. It's been awesome. What's really gotten me for the past year is how important the church body is to hold you accountable, and your friends and your family, to lift you up and, keep pushing you each and every day. But this class is awesome, and I would recommend it.
Before taking this class, I thought providing for my family meant providing food and clothing and shelter and all the worldly goods of life. But after going through the class, I've realized that I have to be a Christ-like example to my wife and kids. I have to bring them to spiritual salvation and guide them and serve them. We're called to be spiritual leaders, and I've been stepping up to be that man in my house. I pray for my family. I pray with my girls every night, and they look forward to that. I pray more in-depth prayers because I've got a closer walk with God now after going through the class. And like the rest of them, I want to leave a legacy to my grandkids and my great-grandkids. I want the values that I'm teaching my kids today to go generations from now. I'm going to apply what I've learned by surrendering to God and going to Him in prayer first before I do anything, and just give Him all the grace that comes my way. Thank you.
So in September, when Blake asked me to be praying for the Courageous Men's class, I had no idea that he was going to ask me to be part of it. Eventually the question came, and I said yes, I wanted to be a part of it. And God is always on time when He intervenes in your life, because some of the exact things that we was learning in the very first chapter I was already dealing with at home. I'm very grateful for Blake asking me to be part of this class. I've met a lot of good people. What did I take from it? As far as immediately I started using what I was learning with my son, because, well, I have never raised a son, and I wanted him to be a spiritual leader one day. So therefore, I'm needing to instill what I'm learning in here to him. So this class showed up right on time, and for that I'm grateful. And thanks, Blake and Chris, for doing the class and being faithful to God.
This class, it wasn't easy, but it was exactly what I needed at the exact time that I needed it. It helped me really in two ways. The first one being, it validated some things that I had placed priority on in my life long before I even had kids, and that was extremely encouraging for me in a time in my life that I needed encouragement and even confidence as a husband and a father. But the other way that it helped was it opened my eyes to a lot of areas that needed improvement. And the biggest one, in my opinion, was my desire to be in control of my life. And I'm a planner, bit of a micromanager, and my version of success was always work hard to gain wealth, work hard to gain status in my career. And that caused me to look at my life through the lens of a telescope, always looking forward to the future, trying to figure out how I was gonna keep climbing the ladder more and more and more. And we all know when you look through a telescope, you can see really well what's far away, but you can't see anything that's at your feet. And this class helped me realize that. It showed me that God's version of success for me is to just get out of His way and let Him kind of be in control, so that I have the time to devote to improving my relationship with Him and with my wife and my children. Once I can, kind of get all that under control and get that accomplished, if His will calls for that wealth and that status, so be it. But if it doesn't, I no longer have to worry about trying to maintain control on my own. I don't have the distractions and the stress that came with it. I can enjoy and appreciate the blessings that He's given me that I already have. And I could go on and on about the 20 other things that this has helped with my family and myself, but I'll just say that this class has been a milestone in my life, second only to my salvation. And
I can't think of two men better qualified to teach it than Blake and Chris. So thank you to you guys. And I look forward to watching all of my new brothers grow and apply what they've learned with their families. And I want to thank you all for committing to hold me accountable as well.
First of all, I just want to start off by thanking my Heavenly Father for pressing on my heart to take this class. I want to thank Chief Cornerstone for making it available to take. And thirdly, Blake and Chris, I know this takes a lot of y'all's time, and doing it is a ministry. It really is. My biggest takeaway from this class, as far as being a Christian, a husband, and a father, can probably be summed up one word, and that is lacking. I just didn't feel like I was up to snuff, and this class has really opened my eyes to how I can do better in all three. I heard about this class 3 or 4 years ago and didn't really think much of it. And I wouldn't say my wife pushed me to take it. She more encouraged me. Love you, Erica Jackson. So prayed about it, and God finally said it's time. So I took the class, and now I'm applying it. My Bible has a way to read the Bible in 365 days, so I'm committed to doing that, and so far so good. Genesis is pretty rough. Praying more from the heart. As far as being a husband, just being there for my wife, communicate with my wife, praying with her, trying to help her out most I can. My children, praying with them, reading the Bible with them, trying to have some patience. And they drive you crazy, but that's what kids do, and praying seems to help that. I'm striving to be a better friend to my coworkers, to my just friends, even my friends at church, all y'all. Not the most outgoing guy, but I'm trying.
So I had a few of my friends there at the church that had asked me about taking this Courageous Men's Bible Study class. And I had watched them, the last class, graduate and listened to the things that they said and that they learned in the class. And I'll just be completely transparent and honest. I've been married going on 27 years and have 2 adult daughters that are 19 and 22. And have a son-in-law, and my mentality was, why would I want to take a class, or why do I need to take a class to teach me how to be a good husband and a good father when I'm, been through marriage and got kids this old and been in a marriage this long. And so the more I prayed about it, the more God impressed upon me to take this class and to read the book and to study it. And so as I did, it wasn't very long. First class, matter of fact, hit me right between the eyes and just kind of put me back down on my level where I needed to be, to just kind of let me know, hey, you're not the man that you think you are. Because if you were, then things would be different. And here's the biblical perspective of what a husband and a father should be in the eyes of God. And it really hit me hard. And as I kept on going through the class, and we kept reading more chapters, and we kept coming in, and Blake and Chris were teaching, and as we was going through each one of these, each step in this book, it just become more evident to me that this was right exactly where God wanted me and right where I needed to be. And so there's a lot of things in there. It's probably one of the only books other than the Bible that I've ever read from cover to cover, because I'm not one that enjoys reading, but it is a book that I thoroughly enjoyed reading every single page of. I couldn't wait until nights come that I could sit down and open it up and read and study that book. So the biggest encouragement that I could get out of that is is just knowing that from this day forward that I can be that godly husband and that godly father and godly father-in-law that God has called me to be. And if I can encourage any man in the church, I really would encourage you to take this class. I think it's something that every man and every marriage, from if you're just fixing to get married or just got married, if you've been married 50 years, I think this class would be good for each one of you. So Blake, Chris, I thank each one of you for the time that you put into teaching this class. To all the guys that were in the class, that we prayed together each week, that we encouraged each other each week. I built new friendships there, and I love each one of you, and I encourage you to hold on to the principles that we learned in this class, because they'll go with you forever. So, thank you guys very much.